You bet. Thank you. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to be back in my home state. It's a great opportunity to maybe pay a little back for the care and the education I got here, and maybe, I hope, help citizens here protect the young people that you're now raising in this community. I want to thank everybody from law enforcement that's here, from community coalitions that are here, those who have worked on treatment that has spoken out. It's hard. I know this from working with people in other states. The proponents of this have used a very cruel tactic of suggesting that if you stand up against this poisoning on a wider scale, you're for the suffering of the dying and the sick and those in pain. This is a lie perpetrated, I think we need to be clear, by people who don't live in this state. This state, citizens of this state are not funding this initiative in bulk. This is coming out of a nonprofit in Washington, funded by George Soros and Peter Lewis of Progressive Insurance, who have decided that the laws against drugs in the United States are wrong. They have their own ideas, and they're using their wealth and the large megaphone that wealth gives them to drown out the arguments that are legitimate and need to be brought forward. Despite this kind of threat of being thought to be cruel and heartless, law enforcement and the people who work on the public safety of the citizens of this state, people who work on preventing drug use by young people, people who treat those who are addicted, are standing up and asking for the voters' help. Help us protect your children, your family, your community from this harm. Help those who put their lives on the line every day be able to protect you more effectively. What is this really sold as? It's sold as the best we can do for people who are dying is make them high. It's sold with marijuana because we know that people have an underestimation of the seriousness of marijuana. Of course, they could get high on crack or meth or heroin. Any drug that causes intoxication could be used. But that's, of course, not medicine, and that would be laughable. The claim here is that marijuana has a unique property. It doesn't. The unique property, there is medical marijuana, has been mentioned before, it's available by prescription. You get the drug, you don't get the carcinogens in the smoke, you don't get the other pollutants, you don't get the fungus that's usually associated in the grown matter, you don't get the pesticides, you don't get all the other ingredients. That's not what people want. They also don't want this limited to people with end-of-life pain or with particular medical conditions, because it's not defined that way. In other states, California is mentioned as the first, there have been 12 states that have now passed similar ballot resolutions after millions of dollars have been spent. In other states, the image they show you is a person in a wheelchair who says, I feel better when I get high, essentially. Yes, they do, but that's not medicine. That's doing the least we can for people who are in need of medical treatment. They'll show you the image, and I'm sure there may be television ads after we get closer to the election, of people in a cemetery saying, this is my mother, this is my father, they died and they had pain at the end of their lives, I wish they would have had marijuana. This is my brother, he suffers chronic pain, I wish he has marijuana, and why would we want to arrest people with chronic pain? We don't arrest people with chronic pain. That is a shameful lie. What they show you are the images of the wheelchair. What this is really bringing you is the vending machine. The wide distribution of marijuana under the cover of medicine, under the cover of this is something a compassionate society does, which is not medicine at all. And the reason it's not medicine is because smoked marijuana cannot demonstrate it's a safe and efficient and effective drug. If it could, we license all kinds of drugs, even those that have potentials for addiction, for legitimate medical care. We are a compassionate society, we are a scientific society, we're a society that cares about the well-being of our citizens. We need to continue to do that. This is not about medicine. This is about legalizing marijuana. And the reason why that's important is, while we have made progress, thanks to the people in this room, against drug use by kids, nationally down 24%, marijuana down 25% in the last 6 years, cocaine availability reduced in this country, methamphetamine availability reduced. While we're making all this progress, we still have work to do, and marijuana remains the single largest cause of treatment need in this state and in the country. It dwarfs all other drugs of abuse, and for teenagers, marijuana nationally is not only the largest cause of referring teenagers as teenagers to treatment, it's more important than all other illegal drugs combined. Marijuana is underestimated in its current potency, in its current effect on young people, and its current far-reaching effect on the health and well-being and safety of our citizens. Don't make the mistake. Don't buy the lie. Don't let a billionaire who doesn't live here, doesn't care about your children, use Michigan as a social experiment that will undermine the work of all these people and those that they lead and represent. They're asking people to take time to not be intimidated by the, oh, you have an obligation as a compassionate human being to care about the suffering of others. We all do. The suffering that will be caused here is not going to be people in wheelchairs. That's not what's happened in California or Oregon or Washington State. The suffering is going to be the kids that are drawn to the example of the vending machine. The kids who are told not that marijuana is dangerous, but it's good for you, it's medicine. The kids and the adults who are dependent, who need the help of families to say, marijuana is an addictive substance, you need to get treatment, you need to stay in treatment. Not a cover to let the addiction blind them and their families to the harm they're doing to themselves and to the community. I'm honored to be here with such dedicated public servants, and I know Michigan, and I know the voters of Michigan will not be fooled by the lies if they get a chance to hear the truth. These people have stepped forward bravely to make sure that they get a chance to hear that truth, and again, it's not a mistake.